Welcome back. Take a look at Bitcoin. There it is, over 67,000. We're approaching all-time highs, Mr. Weiss.
Yep.
It's another 7% today. What's behind this other than
pure momentum?
Momentums.
There's still no use
Risk
case.
on.
Well, there are a few things. Momentum. Kramer came out today and said he thinks it's because people trust fiat currencies less because of everybody's upside down is in debt to GDP.
He referred to Jim Cramer and said Bitcoin has absolutely zero utility. They just need to stop crying at this point. Bitcoin is breaking all-time highs. It is going to higher highs. And at this point, guys, we are entering the phase of this bull run where the most millionaires are going to be made. This is ICO season. This is meme season. This is when retailers start FOMOing into this market. And it's when you see projects go from a $1 billion market cap to a $5 billion market cap. And is there going to be speculation? 100%. But there is true utility to Bitcoin. And we have financial products right now that are the best financial products that we have ever seen since 1975, as I always say, when Jack Bogle came out with index funds for Vanguard. So listen to why Bitcoin is actually rallying here today from another analyst here on Yahoo Finance.
By any measure, these are the most successful ETF launches of all time. And as you mentioned in the last segment, sometimes it comes down to simple supply and demand. If we looked last week, these Bitcoin ETFs purchased over 30,000 Bitcoin net, and Bitcoin miners only produced 6,000 Bitcoin. And as you said, that number is going to fall in half the amount miners are producing in a few weeks. More demand, reduced new supply. Sometimes it's as easy as that to explain why the price is going up.
It's really as simple as that at this point, guys. Even though there is going to be a lot of other factors into this, the Bitcoin spot ETF has brought Wall Street into the mix. There is now billions of dollars of Bitcoin being purchased almost weekly, and now we have less supply than ever and more demand than ever. It's simple mathematics at that point from supply and demand levels. Econ 101. But it doesn't stop there, guys. We also have Jack Mallard coming out on CNBC today with the real value to this, and honestly why Bitcoin has been moving faster than ever. And the real speculation, is it because that Bitcoin has no utility? Is this just a lottery machine everybody is trying to participate in because numbers go up? Or is it really because the United States dollar and global currencies at this level are starting to debase?
They're saying, I might replace some of my high growth tech stocks and just put Bitcoin in my portfolio. Does that at all change the market dynamic in your mind?
No, I think simply put, let's go back to supply and demand, right? The supply of Bitcoin is fixed. As long as demand continues to increase, the price is going to go up. If your thesis is that it's like Tesla, I'd question that. It doesn't generate cash flow. It doesn't create cars. But whatever, fine. Do whatever you want, right? Free market maximalist. There's no one to tell you otherwise in Bitcoin. That's why it's so beautiful, and that's why it's pure humanity. Everyone has access to do whatever they want. So I think demand will increase. I think these narratives, some of them I find interesting and questionable, but the point is, the supply demand is in favor of those that hold it, is that no one can print more of it, no matter who you are. And so that is what makes it so bullish now, 15 years running.
Yeah, that is literally it, guys. You cannot print more Bitcoin. People are exhausted of the United States government and global governments, for that case, guys, printing endless amounts of money, debasing the value of your dollar. This is why gold bugs are so mad. It's why the banks are so mad. It's why Wall Street's and these big corporations are so mad, is because they cannot control Bitcoin. And it's exactly why the co-founder of Tether came out and said this.
Just look at where we stand today, pre-halvening for Bitcoin, and look at historical patterns. That would suggest, and I'm not predicting this, I'm just saying if you applied the historical patterns, it would suggest Bitcoin being in excess of $300,000 at the peak of this next bull market. And since all tokens are correlated to Bitcoin, that means that all the other tokens like Ethereum and Solana and some of these others will move up in lockstep. Those, however, usually move higher, directionally the same, but since they have a lower market cap, they tend to move up to a greater degree.
And that is exactly why, guys, on chain, we can start to see insanely bullish metrics. If you've ever used CryptoQuant, we're going to be using the quick search feature here where we're analyzing a lot of different indications that we're not just in a bull market. We are well into one, and we're about to see higher highs on Bitcoin's price. Bitcoin has reached nearly its all-time high, touching $65,000. The cryptocurrency market broke out of the bottom in January of 2023 and transitioned into a bull market according to this metric. It is currently staying at the strong bull zone in the white down here that you can see in this white zone. That is going to be the strong bull market indication, which we've seen, guys. Check this out. If you go back to, of course, your all-time highs in 2021 or 2018, this is traditionally when Bitcoin is most bullish. So from this point on, it is likely that new investors will begin to flow in large numbers. However, most new investors come in quickly near the peak in the latter part of the bull market, and it can be expected that Bitcoin will still have upside potential until that point. So this is a very, very, very strong bull zone. Now, generally in a full-fledged bull market, it stays in the zone for approximately 6 months to 1 year, which means we'd be essentially already halfway or 25% of the way into this bull run. Now, another really bullish indicator is going to be the realized cap. So Bitcoin new investors at 10.62% in the last week, suggesting a possible bullish rally. The percentage of 1 week investors has jumped to a whopping 10.62% for the first time since the beginning of October 2021, or the beginning of the last crypto bull cycle that lasted into November of 2021. In addition, 30 countries saw Bitcoin price peaks last week, suggesting that more new investors are interested in Bitcoin and are likely to enter this market. Now, this gets even more bullish because, of course, a 20 to 30% correction, while yes, that is still very possible as markets are overheated. We've ran up from like literally 43K Bitcoin to 67,000 with essentially no pullback. The amount of holders, guys, is accelerating. The inflow of new investors, guys, is accelerating. The inflow is just starting to, I'm repetitive here with the inflow. There's so many inflow words right here, but the percentage of Bitcoin UTXO held for more than 6 months is decreasing the steepest in this bull market. You can see that right here in the purple. New investors are flowing in, and in the near future, we can expect the influx of many new individual investors. Eventually, this ratio will continue to decline sharply, leading to the true bull market we desire. Now, you can see throughout historical markets, guys, when we start to approach those all-time highs, you are going to get, let me get the little drawing tool right here. As soon as we start to approach those all-time highs, you will get a massive decline in this value percentage. Again, in 2018, the massive rise, massive decline. So this indicates that we are in the beginning, in those early stages of this bull run. So another extremely bullish indicator coming out of these on-chain metrics. We have less than like 38 days, and I'm going to pull up the Bitcoin halving calculator live for you guys on this video to see just how much time we have to get into this market before that halving takes place and that supply is cut in half. I've believed since June of 2021, Bitcoin spot ETFs were going to be the greatest financial product to ever launch in these markets. And this cycle is the cycle of all cycles. Not only are we already seeing an early breakout, institutions for the first time in history are actually FOMOing into this market, resulting in very limited supply and a massive demand. And there is no turning back. So of course, guys, when we type in on Google, Bitcoin halving, everybody should be doing this. Type in that countdown. This is probably one of the most important dates that you will watch over the next year. And this is, I would put on par with presidential elections. Why? Because this is going to be the most hyped up event of this cycle. And traditionally, when you get an excessive amount of hype, especially at a time where these asset managers like BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanik, they're all marketing to their clients that they have less than 2 months, less than 50 days, less than 40 days to enter these markets before the supply is reduced in half. There's going to be so much hype. I do expect some significant upside to this market. And is exactly why we are continuously seeing people like Dave Portnoy. Unfortunately, I honestly feel bad for him at this level, but say things like this.
65,000 to Bitcoin. Bitcoin depresses me. Like I respect it. I don't know how I haven't made $1 billion on Bitcoin. And I've made nothing. I've lost. And I'm the only guy. How do you lose on Bitcoin? How do you lose on Bitcoin? How do you be behind on Bitcoin? I am. I don't know how. How do you believe in Bitcoin And the Michael Saylor, the price you get, the price.
He's so mad at that level. And I honestly, it does suck to see when that takes place because, you know, a lot of people ignore the one thing that's kind of always proven to be the cycle of these markets, which is that 4-year cycle. And exactly why, guys, I'm going to show you one more special tool right here, which is going to be an on-chain analytical tool called the, of course, unrealized PNL. According to the unrealized profits reach, $671 billion. What does this mean? This is probably one of the most important indicators on the market. According to the unrealized profit and loss metric, a key early stage Bitcoin indicator based on realized cap, Bitcoin investors now boast a $671 billion profit in their portfolios following the recent surge in Bitcoin prices. The UN RPL metric surpassed 600 billion after November 2021. This figure signifies crucial aspects of these markets: favorable profitability for Bitcoin investors and high risk within the Bitcoin market. I have to be one of the only people going to say this in this market right now. You are no longer, in my opinion, early to this market. The people that were early were the ones accumulating for the last 660 days. Is there opportunity to make still life-changing wealth? 100%. But to come into the market right now after being sidelined for so long, a lot of these people, guys, whether it was Caspa, whether it was Render, whether it was Fetch AI, whether it was DeSci, whether it was Bitcoin Layer 2s, whether it was Cardano, a lot of people are up 3, 4, 500, 10,000%. I'm serious. There are 10,000% metrics out there. So coming into this market right now, we have more money than ever flooding into it. There is still significant upside, but you need to pay attention to this metric. And that's because the last time we hit these levels, guys, we're hitting about 670 billion today. We peaked at around 780 to 800 billion in the last cycle. So even though we're not at all-time highs just yet, we are about to break that. I do believe we'll at least anticipate a $78,000, $79,000 Bitcoin. These are those moments, guys, where if you were accumulating in this red zone, which is the best possible scenario to actually buy in these markets, back when FTX collapsed, back when Luna Terra collapsed, that was the best price. Those investors at these ranges are definitely going to want to risk adjust in the upcoming months towards this Bitcoin halving. There's going to be immense volatility. Whales are going to take profits. The institutions that bought at $9,000, $13,000, $14,000, $16,000 Bitcoin because they're getting discounts on their grayscale Bitcoin, they're going to look to take profits. And while I believe in the longevity of Bitcoin, you guys just need to be aware. Markets are still volatile. This industry is still smaller than the size of NVIDIA, or maybe just a little bit bigger. We are very early in the grand scheme of things. But if you have that itch, you have that FOMO, you have that emotional depth into these markets, just know there's still a lot more volatility. Other than that, guys, I'll see you at the top.